Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the meeting. I hope you are all enjoying your summer break, and thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We're super excited to have all of you here at this gathering, which is hosted by 6 Bay Area youth organizations, including Able to Shine, Bree Youth Group, Hanling Youth Group, Xing Xing Youth Group, Silicon Valley Youth Group, and NCCCAF Youth Group. Tonight is very special as we have the honor of having Dr. Ming Wang with us. He will be sharing some of his remarkable life stories and personal experiences during his journey from being an immigrant to becoming a world-renowned eye surgeon. I am sure we will all gain some valuable lessons and inspiration from his talk. But before we get started, we're going to hear from each of our 6 youth leaders as they introduce themselves and their respective organizations. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Xing Xing Youth Group. I'm Ashley, and I'm a co-president of Xing Xing Youth Group. Xing Xing is affiliated with the nonprofit organization Xing Xing Educational Foundation, which was founded in 1997 with the goal to aid impoverished communities in rural China. And the Educational Foundation has provided resources and care to construct schools in rural China to improve their quality of life. And in 2015, a group of teens founded the youth group in the Bay Area to support some of our own local communities. And we frequently lead volunteers to perform acts of community service across the Bay Area. Now I'm going to hand it over to Allison, who will introduce the Silicon Valley Youth Group.
Hi, I'm Allison, and I'm currently the EVP of Marketing for Silicon Valley Youth. We were founded in 2015, and our mission is to develop the intellectual, moral, civic, and creative capabilities of youth so they can serve and lead our society. We do this by raising funds, by teaching classes in areas such as like STEM or the humanities, and the majority of our profits end up going to school districts in San Jose or in East Palo Alto, such as the Ravenswood School District. Recently, we've been doing more close-knit work with the Ravenswood School District, and it's been a pleasure getting to know each of the students' stories.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm honored to be a youth ambassador for Hanlin Education Foundation of America. At Hanlin, we promote Chinese culture among youth generations and help them connect with their background through overseas camp in China. The purpose of this camp is to connect youth from China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong with Americans around the same age. It's with great enthusiasm and prestigious honors to advocate for Chinese immersion camps. I'm proud to be a member of Hanlin attending tonight's forum. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Angelina, and I am also part of the Hanlin Youth Group. I'm in charge of the publicity department, and basically I just help to advertise the Hanlin group. And I'm very excited to be here with everyone. I helped to design the flyer that you guys probably have seen. And today I am in charge of the technical support for this event.
Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm the PRI manager at BRI Youth Group, and it's a nonprofit organization founded in 2018. And the goal is to improve Chinese American social responsibility, strengthen citizenship, and create a united community that amplifies the needs of our people. So it's based in the Bay Area, but we have volunteers worldwide, and we teach various online tutoring classes and partner with other organizations such as Friends of Children with Special Needs and local food banks to give back to the community.
Hi, my name is Chen Yi, and I'm currently a sophomore from Irvington, and my organization is NCCCAF, which is short for North California Chinese Cultural Athletic Foundation, which is a sport foundation primarily attended by mainland Chinese living in the United States, including Chinese from both sides of Taiwan Strait. It is organized by the North California Chinese Cultural and Sport Association, and it's the largest sport event held by Chinese and overseas Chinese worldwide. So our motto are unity and harmony, one big family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma, and I'm from Able to Shine. Able to Shine is a soft skills education platform which offers foundational public speaking and debate programs to students. We have been doing very well in nationwide speech and debate tournaments for the past 3 years. We help you shine. Why wait in line? Thank you.
Awesome. And now I have the honor of introducing our speaker for today, Dr. Ming Wang. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about him now. So he's known for his work in the field of like ophthalmology, and he's a Harvard and MIT graduate, and he's one of the few laser eye surgeons in the world today who hold a doctorate degree in laser physics. He's a co-founder of the nonprofit Common Ground Network, and the film Sight is based on his autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, co-starring Greg Kinnear. As a teenager, he fought valiantly to escape, and he came to America with only $50 and earned 2 doctorate degrees, one in laser physics and one in medicine. And he graduated with the highest honors from Harvard Medical School and MIT. Amniotic membrane contact lens, which he has invented and holds 2 US patents in, has now been used by tens of thousands of eye doctors throughout the world in nearly every nation, and millions of patients have had their eyesight restored. Wang Foundation for Sight Restoration has helped patients from over 40 states in the US and 55 countries with all sight restoration surgeries performed free of charge. Dr. Wang was named the Kiwani's Nashvilleian of the Year for his lifelong dedication to help blind, orphan children from around the world. And without further ado, Dr. Ming Wang.
Thank you, everybody. It's a distinct honor to be with you all today. I've been giving Zoom presentations most of the time to a lot older folks. And I regard today's opportunity to be unique and refreshing. And I couldn't wait to not only share my perspective with you about life, but also I would love to hear your response. And so we can together trying to share our perspective about a very important question that we face in today's world. So let's begin. The title of my presentation is My Commitment to You is to help us find common ground and solutions. And if you look around to see what the world we're living in today, and ask yourself the question, we are living in a country and the world with many major societal issues, such as problem with jobs, economy, healthcare, education, opioid crisis, gun violence, and environmental disasters. There's even a war going on that is killing so many innocent people. Humankind has faced with similar challenges in the past. But what's unique about the challenge that we all face today in today's world, in America and in a worldwide scale in general, is that we are so polarized. We're so polarized. That means that we're increasingly fixated on our differences rather than appreciating what we have all in common as human beings. We're increasingly unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions. So let's ask ourselves these 3 questions, actually 2 questions. The first is we are polarized. The second is why we are so polarized. And thirdly, what's the solution? Before I go further, I would like to recognize Dr. Ming Wang and the group for the warm invitation for me to be with you all, the future of our world. So I'm really looking for our discussion today. So let's explore this first question. Why we're so polarized? Why are we so polarized? Why are we so increasingly fixated on differences among us rather than appreciating what we all have in common? Why we are so increasingly unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions? First of all, if you look at what's happening domestically, you see polarization everywhere. Where there is polarization and unableness of working together between Democrats and Republicans, result in stalemate, often in our government, not being able to address the key issues facing our nation, or you see the polarization divisions among races, Black and white, Asians and Latinos. You see the polarization between religions and faith. People don't want to talk to each other. You see polarization between nations, particularly outside the United States, internationally. You're seeing increasing polarization as well. The increasing polarization or unableness of working together between China and America, between East and West, between countries with different political systems, economic systems, and cultural traditions. Let me ask you, why we are so polarized? Why are we so polarized? First of all, you say, Dr. Wang, is that an important question? Yes. When our government, the Democrats and Republicans, cannot work together, when our people don't want to work together across racial divides and ethnic divisions, when nations such as China, United States are unwilling to compromise and trying to work together, when East and West are increasingly polarized, only human race suffer. We are increasingly unable to solve some of the major problems facing our society, our world, and our nation, such as the problem that I mentioned before: jobs, healthcare, education, opioid crisis, gun violence, and environmental disasters. So we do need to ask ourselves the question, why are we so polarized? If we can identify the root cause of our polarization, and or even better, identify some solutions, then we will be able, as a human race, to move forward. Otherwise, the increasing division, polarization, and fragmentation of our world will doom the entire human society into extinction. Think about it. We are 8 billion inhabitants of this little flying rock, flying in space at 650 kilometers per second. 650 kilometers per second, flying through the space like crazy. It could be hit by a star, by meteoroids, and be destroyed. This flying rock is called the Earth. So we have a shared humanity on this little spaceship called the Earth. We really don't have choice but trying to work together. So as I explore this question, why are we so polarized? I want all of you, the future of our world, our nation, to ask this question yourself. Just think about it. In the discussion section, I would like to get what you take on this. Why are we so polarized? And then we're gonna try to see if we could find some solution. Because this is nothing short of existential crisis for human race. For example, if East and West cannot find a solution, a way to find a common ground, if NATO and Russia cannot find a solution to find a way to compromise, mutual assured destruction, MAD, is going to be the result of the entire human race. Nuclear power today can actually kill all of us instantaneously. These superpowers have stockpiled more nuclear power than that needed to destroy this earth several times over. There are more drugs that are produced in the Western Hemisphere or shipped to Western Hemisphere that can actually kill every single one of the Americans 3 times over. So as the future generation of our world, I'd like to bring attention to you, the single most, in my opinion, single most important issue facing humanity today. Why are we so polarized? Why are we so unprecedentedly unwilling to work together across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions and nations? Why we are so fixated on our differences rather than appreciating what we all have in common as fellow human beings? I've been interested in this question, why we're so polarized, for many, many years. Often friends ask me, say, Ming, why so interested in trying to help all of us overcome the polarization to find a common ground? Why are you so interested? I have established a foundation, a nonprofit organization to study why we're so polarized and how we can overcome that polarization. For many years, I've been teaching about methodologies of how to overcome our polarization to help literally human race to survive. For many years. So why so polarized, Ming? They asked. I'm so polarized because I used to suffer. I used to live in a situation when the society was totally polarized and there was no opportunity. So let me tell you a little story. What situation did I live in and why it was so polarized that the society came into standing still. I grew up in China during Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, where universities were shut down throughout China and colleges were shut down, so none of us could go to colleges. And everybody, youth, was sent away to some of the poorest part of the country for labor. 1974, I was 14. I finished my 9th grade. I was a straight A student because mom and dad always said, study hard, study hard. So I graduated from junior high and 9th grade at age 14, and I was straight A, and I was looking forward to attending high school. What I really wanted to do is to become a doctor. Even though we were very poor, half the time I was hungry. We didn't have enough to eat. But my parents insisted all the time. Ming, study hard, study hard. So when I finished my 9th grade and I was looking forward to attending 10th grade and beyond, when the deportation order came down to me, just like to 20 million others, I was going to be sent away to labor camp. In order to escape that, I found out that if I could play a music instrument, if I could dance, I might be getting into what they call the government song and dance troupe, thereby avoid being sent away to countryside and being allowed to stay in the cities, because government still need musicians and dancers in the cities. That didn't work. I was going to be sent away. My fate, just like 20 million others, was going to be sent to the countryside for hard labor. No chance, zero chance to attend high school or college. Then I got lucky. 10 years into Cultural Revolution, it ended, 1976. Mom and dad came home. They said, hey, Ming, you might be able to go to college now. I thought I would never be able to hear that. I said, when? Mom said, tomorrow. I said, wait a minute. I never attended high school yet. 3 years ago, I was kicked out of school after 9th grade. In the last 3 years, I've been out of school. I've been playing the music instrument, learning dancing, all to trying to avoid being sent away to the countryside. And now there's a chance to go to school. Should I go back to 9th grade, maybe 10th grade? Dad said, no, higher. I said, 10th? He said, no, higher. I said, 11th? He said, no, higher. I said, wait a minute, Dad, you want me to go back to school tomorrow? Yes. But you want me to jump 3 years ahead, overnight, into 12th grade? Yes. I said, wait a minute, if magically somehow I became a 12th grader, what's my chance of getting into college? Dad said, less than 1%. I said, you mean less than 1% of the graduating class, the 12th graders, could get into college this year? He said, yes. I said, why so small? He said, Ming, there's 10-year backlog of high school graduates. In the last 10 years, from 1966 to 76, they never got a chance to go to college because university colleges shut down in entire China for that 10 years. So now everybody's coming back to trying to apply for college. So this year we got 10 times or 1,000% the amount of applicants. So only 1%, less than 1% of the graduating class will get into college. I said, let me get this straight. You want me to jump 3 years ahead overnight and compete, having never studied 10th, 11th, 12th, and compete against other 12th graders for that less than 1% chance of getting to college? My dad said, yes. I said, you guys are crazy. Mom said, we're not crazy. She said, what if colleges shut down again next year for another 10 years? I said, well, it's true. We don't know the future. So Mom and Dad said, you better grab the opportunity now or you never will. So I had to do the impossible. I got so stressed out. And Mommy and Dad said, we're going to help you. So during daytime, they were working very hard. At night, they borrowed some old exam questions. Those were the old college entrance exams that before 1966, before the Cultural Revolution. So they helped me studying very hard, and they drove me every day. We were very poor. My parents, my younger brother, and me, we live in a little one single room. Their combined income was like $15 a month. So it's very poor. So we didn't have, money to Xerox anything. So what Mom and Dad did, they hand copied those questions onto little pieces of papers that found throughout the house and drove me every night with little pieces of papers containing those, old exam questions before 1966. They made me study 12, 15 hours a day. I almost killed myself studying. In my autobiography, called From Darkness to Sight, I'm holding here. It talked about when I eventually made to the day of to the examination building on the day of the exam, the Gaokao, the college entrance exam. I almost collapsed from exhaustion. I did actually barely get into college. 1977, the grade of 1977, the first year after the Cultural Revolution ended. Then I wanted to come to America. So 1982, with $50 borrowed from a visiting American professor with a Chinese English dictionary, knowing no one in this country, could hardly speak English. Me and two other guys, we were dropped off National Airport, Washington, D.C. There began my American journey. Even though I was nearly penniless, but I was excited because I had the opportunity to work hard and perhaps realize my American dream. I had the good fortune of attending some of the wonderful schools in this country. I wanted to go to Harvard. I wanted to go to medical school. So first degree I studied when I came to America was laser physics. I was studying my PhD in laser physics. And I eventually finished an MIT postdoctoral fellowship. And then I said, you know, I want to become a laser eye surgeon. And a unique one, meaning most of eye surgeons, laser eye surgeons, they know medicine very well. They've gone to medical school, but most of doctors, they have not gone to graduate school in engineering. So their technology training is not as strong as medicine. But in order, you know, medicine today is medicine and technology combined. And increasingly, the technology part becomes more and more important in medicine. So I want to be a really good laser eye surgeon. So I decided to get 2 doctorate degrees, one in laser physics, finished postdoc fellowship at MIT, and one in medicine. So remember, I wanted to go into medicine in China during Cultural Revolution, but then I couldn't even go to high school. I wasn't even allowed to go to high school. Eventually, Cultural Revolution ended. I got lucky. I fought my way into college and then came to America. So then I say, you know, this is a free country, right? I should be able to do what I want. So as I talked about in my autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, I made an appointment with the director of admission, Johns Hopkins Medical School. I walked in, there's this tall guy, overweight, with a big white coat that barely able to button in front of him. And I walked up to him. I said, Dr. Norm Anderson? He said, yes. I said, I'm Ming Wang. I'm interested in applying for medical school. This is my resume. He did not look at my resume at all. Yeah. Thank you. So he didn't look at my resume at all. So he just looked at me. He said, where are you from? I said, China. He said, look, do you know how hard it is to get into medical school, even for American students who were born here? You're from China. Don't waste your time. Now, mind you that he didn't look at my resume. He had no idea what I did. He judged simply based on the color of my skin, my ethnicity. What is that? Racial discrimination. I got so mad. I walked out. Then I said, I almost give up, but I was so mad. But then I said to myself, after Cultural Revolution, I fought it, get into college. I can fight again. This time, not just for myself, but also for other Asian Americans, Chinese Americans in particular, who were discriminated against. I want to prove that Dr. Anderson is wrong in his racial discrimination attitude. So it goes to show that even in a free society, America, there's still challenges and discriminations, particularly as Asian Americans or Chinese Americans. So I found out that the only way to get into medical school without pre-med was to take this exam called the MCAT, Medical College Admission Test. And in order to study for MCAT, I need $1,500. I didn't have the $1,500. So I got 4 jobs. I was working in a Burger King restaurant. I was working in Best Western Hotel. And I was cleaning somebody's house. And all at the same time, I was studying for my doctorate degree in laser physics, daytime. But I fought very hard because I knew that, this is my chance for my own future and also to prove that racial discrimination is wrong. So I studied very hard and did pretty well. And one day, my autobiography talk about one day I received 2 letters. I opened the first letter. It was a admission letter from Johns Hopkins Medical School. I was so happy. I got in. Johns Hopkins is #2 medical school in the United States. Then I opened the second letter. Guess what? It was a admission letter from Harvard Medical School, #1 medical school. So I was so happy. I was looking at it. I said, hey, I've got my choice. I'm so lucky. The telephone rang. Now this literally happened. I didn't make this up. It did happen. The telephone rang, which I talk about in my autobiography, and I picked up the phone. The guy on the other side said, is this Ming Wang? I said, yes. Who is this? He said, guess what? He said, this is Dr. Norman Anderson, admission director of Johns Hopkins Medical School. And I said to myself, I know this dude. I said, how can I help you? He said, Ming Wang, you did very well on MCAT. You are the highest scorer in the whole country, #1 in the United States. So we have admitted you to Hopkins. Are you coming? He had no idea I was that Chinese student sat in front of him just 3 months prior. He so readily discriminated against simply because the color of my skin, my ethnicity. I should have told him I was the same guy, right? But I didn't. Why? Because my parents brought me up, respecting your teachers, respect your teachers. So I didn't tell him because professor is a teacher to me. So probably partly because of him, Dr. Norman Anderson, admission director, Johns Hopkins, because of him, I didn't go to Hopkins. I went to Harvard Med School. So I worked very hard, and years later, I became a doctor. Then I said to myself one day, I said, you know what? Now I'm a doctor now. I need to tell Dr. Anderson, I need to tell him that he was wrong in discriminating, to have his racial discriminating attitude, particularly against Chinese Americans. I mean, racial discrimination against any race is wrong, including Chinese Americans. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do something. I decided to write a book and write him into the story with real name and everything. Then I call him up. I called the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. I want to talk to Dr. Anderson to tell him, hey, you're wrong. You should not discriminate others based on their ethnicity. But I called Johns Hopkins, and this was many years later. He passed away already. So I said, Dr. Anderson regrettably never had the chance to learn this lesson. Racial discrimination is wrong. But in a very interesting way, he did learn. Can you imagine how could he learn? He passed away already. So this is how, in a very funny way, he did learn. After I wrote the book 9 years ago, a studio from Hollywood contacted me and said, hey, we want to write, we can make a movie about your life based on the book. I don't know exactly how they found out about it, part of which may have to do with the fact that I have many, many patients throughout the United States, including some of the Hollywood stars. You know, some stars you might know, Dolly Parton, Kenny Chesney, Nicole Kidman, an actress, and Ashley Judd, and many others. Anyway, so I have patients all over the country and many Hollywood stars. So probably some of those stars told the studio that over there in Hollywood that, you know. So there's a good doctor, a Chinese-American doctor in Nashville, Tennessee, and, you know, he wrote a book and they read the book and they want to make a movie. So that was 9 years ago. It took 9 years to make this film. So 2 years ago, in Vancouver, Canada, the film was being shot under the watchful eyes of 250 people, actor and actress and crew and everybody. A scene took place in the film where it was the racial discrimination scene, where the young Ming, the young actor playing me, walked into Dr. Anderson's office, and Dr. Anderson didn't look at his resume, throw the resume to the side and look at him and say, where are you from? China? Don't waste your time. You're no good. And then the young actor was supposed to turn around and walked away, angry and study hard, you know, Burger King and Best Western Hotel and all that, right? Something out of script happened. Under the watchful eyes of 250 people, I hid behind the screen. I jumped into the light. The cinematographer looked at it and said, oh, where did Ming come from? What? Look kind of fun. Let me keep on shooting. And I walked straight to that actor who played Professor. And this actor got confused. He looked up, all of a sudden seeing me, and he said, this is not part of the script. What should I do? And I said, Professor, don't look around. Look at me. Do you know who I am? He said, oh, no, I have no idea. Because he was so nervous, he had not expected this, totally not in the script. I said, this is Ming from the future. I said, Professor, do you know what happened to me so many years ago when you said the horrible things to me? I'm so glad I did not listen to you. So today, after so many years, today, I time traveled back. I time traveled back because I wanted to tell you, Professor, racial discrimination, including discrimination against Chinese Americans, is wrong. So everybody claps hands, and I walked out with the young man, put my hands over his shoulder. So the point is, the best way to fight racial discrimination is don't believe it. Stand up for your right. Work even harder. Make something of yourself, and years later, come back and tell the person, hey, you're wrong. We tend to, when something like this happens in our lives, we tend to blame on others. Oh, it's Johnny's fault, it's Nancy's fault. No. The answer to the questions how to fight discrimination, racial and other kinds of discrimination, the answer lies within each of us. So I went to Harvard and I graduated with my second doctorate degree, this time in medicine. And remember I said I want to get 2 doctorate degrees because one in medicine, one in laser physics, so I could be a unique laser eye surgeon, having background not just in medicine, but having background that most doctors don't have, which is laser physics. Probably among all laser eye surgeons in the world today, I'm probably the only one. I have not met the second one, laser eye surgeon, who has MD and then the second PhD degree in laser physics. I performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including LASIK, now the new technology that actually make LASIK out of date now. It's called SMILE. small incision LASIK. So I performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. These are the textbooks that I published over the years in LASIK, SMILE, cataract surgery, and the new surgery to treat presbyopia, meaning over age 45, your parents and your grandparents who over age 45 that have drop of vision, reduction vision up close. It's called presbyopia. If you look at the textbook on the right upper corner, surgical correction of presbyopia, the fifth wave, that is the world's first textbook in treating that old aging eyes. In the lower row, you see in the middle, LASIK vision correction. And in the lower left, you see irregular astigmatism. Astigmatism used to be not treatable, but now in top 1% of centers in the world, we can actually treat. So this is also another world's first textbook on treating high astigmatism. So basically, if you're between the age of 18 and 107, we have something for you. For most of us today in the audience, we're talking about LASIK or the latest version technology that is making LASIK obsolete. It's called SMILE, small incision LASIK. And also we're talking about implantable contact lens. Many of you may wear contact lenses and you may not like it. Every night you have to take it off. Every morning you have to put it on. Well, I've got a new technique now. I can put the contact lens inside your eye. So you never need to remove it. Implantable contact lens. You know the Chinese violin I used to play during the Cultural Revolution to escape being sent away to labor camp has become a hobby as well. I used to express my appreciation to both America and China because Chinese culture has some of those wonderful elements, gems in the culture, particularly Chinese music, art. So I routinely perform my Chinese violin erhu to friends, including many Americans. I, in fact, have just returned playing my erhu to a crowd about 400 or 500 Americans just an hour ago. I believe the way to bring people together between these two nations, in China and America, we can't do anything with the political system, the difference, but rather than focus on what's different, we need to change our attitude. We should focus on what we have in common. What we have in common between China and America is the people, the common desire of all people who want love, peace, and security. In that respect, Chinese just the same as Americans. We all the same as human beings. We have common ground between, say, China, US, or between any nations. In food, that's our common ground of human being, and in music. Now, after all these years of schooling, do you know how many years I've gone to school? What I will tell you may shock you. I've gone to school for 31 years. That's including everything. But if you start from freshman college, I went to school for 20 years. I always tell friends that I'm just a slow bird, take longer time to finish the same thing. But the reason I took all these years because I have two highest degrees, one doctorate degree in laser physics and finished postdoc at MIT, and second, doctorate degree in medicine and this combined joint MD program from Harvard and MIT. So after all these years, and I asked myself, what should I do? And I'm ready to, make some money and have a job at age 37, after all these years of schooling, right? 31 years of schooling, since freshman college, 20 years. I'm a Christian. So I asked Jesus Christ, I said, what should I do that with my hard-earned medical and laser skills. And Christ told me, you should help those who need the most help. I said, who are the people who need the most help? And Christ told me, blind. I said, yes, they need help. He said, orphan. I said, yes, they need more help. And he said, children. I said, yes, they need most help. So blind orphan children has been my lifelong mission. And I built a foundation 20-some years ago to provide care for blind orphan children from around the world because they need the most help. With all the doctors, we donate our services. Even though we donate our services, but I found that in order to really help these blind orphan children from around the world, we need to engage a bigger part of our society, get people excited to support the foundation for the non-medical part of the cost, such as these kids travel, staying and education, schooling and everything. Even though medical cost is waived by the foundation, all the foundation doctors performing these surgeries free, but we still need the fund to bring these kids over and trying to help them live. So I want to bring the cause of sight restoration for blind orphan children out of the clinic, out the four walls of my medical clinic, into the society at large. How could I do that? Then I thought about the fact that I did learn dancing in China as a teenager, age 14 during Cultural Revolution. Even though I learned dancing as a way to survive, to escape being sent away to countryside labor camp for life. But now I said, I knew some dancing, might as well use it for medical charity. So I invented the concept called the eyeball. When you come to eyeball, it's a spectacularly beautiful event. But when you see the beautiful eyeball dancing, that reminds you how precious our sight is as human beings. Because without sight, we will never see all the beautiful things in life. And therefore, how much we need to help those blind orphan children who have lost sight. That's the idea. That's an example of combining art and medicine. That's an example to help people find common ground, just like Erhu can help Americans and Chinese people to find the common ground in music. Eyeball is the way to find common ground between medical doctors and artists. Let me see if I could, I know today I'm in front of many young people, so see if I could find if I have one of those videos. I don't know if I have one. Oh, well, this is just an idea occurred to me to make it fun for you all. So let me try to see YouTube, see whether I can pull up something for you. Oh, in fact, I know what, I will pull you something for you. Okay, I didn't plan this, but I realized that many young people, this is my website, and there's a section of all my dancing. So I'm going to show you just a little bit about my erhu and dancing. So first, let me show you erhu. This is my playing erhu with Dolly Parton. Let me see. Okay, here we go. I didn't plan on this, but it will be fun. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. You might want to turn your computer sound all the way up because this volume is small. So you see, music unites us. Music unites us. East and West, common ground. So actually, Dottie is my patient, as I mentioned. This is the 30-second section about, she talking about her LASIK eye surgery experience.
A lot of people always come and ask me, what's my secret to success? How do I stay happy? How do I stay sane? I said, hell, I ain't sane. Whoever said that?
Then Dolly recognized a certain ballroom dancing eye surgeon in the crowd.
Hello, Dr. Wang. How are you? I just had an appointment with him yesterday. I got the LASIK surgery. That's what turned my hair pink.
Now, Dolly's going to appear on Monday's season opener of Dancing with the Stars, where she's going to sing a song, and that reminds her, of course, of Ming Wang.
He's always tried to get me to dance. He looks at my little legs that has a muscle in the back and says, "Are you a dancer?" I said, "What are you doing looking at my legs?"
Okay, back to the Hall of Fame.
That's Dottie. That's Dottie. So let me show you one more, if I can pull up. This is a little segment of dancing. And this is what's shown in the eyeball, medical charity ball to help blind orphan children from around the world. Let me see if I can pull up one. These are all my dancing competitions. So I'm gonna, this is a very interesting segment. I actually put together for a medical office. So talk about the surgeon, So let me see if I can show you. Here we go. It's kind of blurry because they didn't have a good video. Okay, here we go. Enjoy. Let me show you another one. It's a little bit clearer. This is not very good quality. I don't know if any of you have learned ballroom dancing. It's a great thing to learn. So this is a little, this is a bit better quality. Here we go. Enjoy. Okay, that's kind of fun. So go back to my presentation. So after 9 years, they made the film. October 27, Friday, Universal Studio will release the film Sight, based on my autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, about the stories of many of these blind orphan children we were able to help as foundation over the years, and in theaters across the United States. So I'm going to show you a little trailer here of the movie Sight. Here we go. Enjoy.
I'm going to help you see again.
You said it was impossible.
Ah, there he is, the good doctor.
You're going to be on the cover of the Tennessee Herald tomorrow morning. You may get a date out of this.
No, that picture.
Very funny.
Our pro bono office got a call from India. A little girl, 6 years old.
Apparently, street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind.
So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
I'm going to help you see again, Kajan.
Is it true that multiple doctors declared your patient irreversibly blind?
Yes, but I developed this new breakthrough technology. Here we go. Do you see the light?
No. I can't see anything.
I have this patient from India. She reminds me of some things in the past that I can't get over.
The present is made possible by the past.
A long time ago back in China, there was an uprising in my hometown. Many bad things happened.
So we came to America.
Yes.
It's hard getting into medical school, but you coming from China, don't waste your time.
You cannot change the past, Ming. I feel like I'm stuck.
Hello, doctor. This is Maria.
We want to give her a chance to see again.
I don't even know if I can perform surgery anymore. I left you.
Stop it. You need to just let go.
I just don't want Maria to end up like Kajal.
We can only do our best. I'm with you, Ming. We can do this.
I refuse to believe there is no purpose.
I will be praying for you.
Kajal is teaching me that there's more to life than what you see. We have to keep going.
Thought you said it was impossible.
Can you see yourself, Maria?
I'm so pretty.
So October 27th, Friday, Universal Studio will release the film Sight in theaters across the United States. For my young friends today in the Bay Area, I have a special invitation. In the chat room, I put all my information there, my email address, WeChat address, and also the dates of my Bay Area Sight movie tour from July 7th to July 11th. I put down Dr. Jianshen Huang, who is the coordinator of my Northern California site tour. I'm doing a national tour across the whole United States to share this film with mostly my Chinese American friends throughout the United States. Why I'm doing that? It's because I want to bring awareness of everybody to this film. Because this is a film that was made for our children, for you all today. Because we want to share our experience of struggling when we were at your age, and so that you will feel more, because, you know, young people tend to be influenced by peers. So in this film, you will see your mommy and daddy at your age, the suffering and struggle. So you will really treasure what you have today, a little bit more, and also rebuild the emotional connection between you and your parents and grandparents. And as I said, in making the film, I recognize that without my parents, I would not have today. So I've dedicated the whole film to my father. And the second reason this film was made, the first was for you, our children. The second reason that film was made was for ourselves. Because for Chinese Americans in America, there's a big gap between the contributions that are made by Chinese Americans up here and the recognition that Chinese Americans have received for it. Why such a big gap? It's because Chinese Americans tend to, not anymore, I think young Chinese Americans going out of the Chinese circle, but older Chinese American tends to be confined within Chinese circle. To truly improve the status, the respect of Chinese Americans, we have to go beyond ourselves. We got to do more to contribute to America, society in general, to help solving some of those problems I mentioned healthcare, jobs, education, opioid crisis, gun violence, environmental disasters. So not only we need to step out of our Chinese American circle and help American society in large, but also Chinese Americans tend to be shy, tends to be quiet. But in an open Western society, if you don't speak up, if you don't stand up, if you don't speak up, you would not only could be discriminated against, you could even be ignored. PBS has a 6-hour documentary last year called Asian Americans, and subtitle is Invisible Minority. So that's why there's such a big gap between the contribution that Chinese Americans have made for this country and the recognition that we receive for it. To reduce that gap, to improve the status of our people, to truly allow Chinese Americans to earn our rightful place in America. This is as much our nation as anybody else's. America is an immigrant country. We have to stand up, speak up. We have to tell our stories to America. Chinese tends to, in Mandarin, 说到做到. You say something, you do what you say. That's good. But that's not complete. That's only half. What's the second half? Is 做到还要再说到. Not only have to do it, you have to communicate what you have done. That second step is Chinese Americans, we have not been doing a good job. So we need to do a good job in 2 areas. One is do more to help America. Second is tell our story. So our side tour, national tour, is called Telling Our Story Tour. I'm traveling around the country. I've been to New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Orlando, New Jersey, Chicago, and Minnesota. As I said, next week, I'll be going to Southern California, July 3rd to July 7th, and Northern California, July 7th, the 3rd to 6th, Southern California, and July 7th to July 11th in Northern California. Then I'll be heading to Seattle, Boston, Dallas, Houston, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, everything. I'm traveling everywhere before the film is released, October 27th, because this is a telling our story tour. Because I'm using this film to open the channel, to encourage all of us. You know, some people say, oh, Ming, you're telling your story, you're boasting. No, that's not my point. What I've done, no, that's not my point, because there are many, many Chinese Americans who have done much better job than I have in their respective fields. I'm probably average, a little bit, maybe a little bit above average, but that's not my point. My point is, in Chinese, we call 抛砖引玉. I want to use my telling my story, encourage you to tell your story. Only by being bold, by being more confident, by realizing that this is just as much our country as anybody else's. And realizing that a race, an ethnicity, a group of people can only improve its social standing in a Western country only through 3 channels. What are the 3 channels? Political representation, media representation, and educational representation. Politics, media, and education. So sight is about the second thing, media representation. You know, here in the audience today, I imagine most of you were born in America. Think about your growing up. Other than Kung Fu, other than 古装戏, you know, ancient Chinese dynasty stuff, have you seen many American mainstream silver screen and major TV shows That is, the heroes of those stories are the people that look like you or your parents. No, hardly any. Hardly any. I've been to America for 41 years. I love movie. I've seen probably 1,000 films, but the Chinese film in main American media, silver screen. If you take away Jackie Chan, Kung Fu, and all these things, and 古装戏, ancient dynasty stuff, there's virtually none. They're telling our stories. Our joy and tears, Asian Americans in America. We're American. We're working for our own American dream. This is as much our country as anybody else's. But we are not represented on a silver screen. We have not gained our rightful share. African Americans have. They fought for it. Latinos have. They fought for it. But Chinese Americans have not fought for it. In fact, Universal Studios said this film will fail. This film site will fail. Why? Because they say this film doesn't have Kung Fu and 古装戏. Of course, I don't know any Kung Fu. This is a real life story. They say it will fail because Americans like to see Chinese American Kung Fu, including recent films you know about, all have Kung Fu in there. Even the one Oscar has lots of Kung Fu in there. Because that's a stereotype. This film site doesn't have that. It's the real life story of Chinese Americans in America today. And Hollywood say it will fail. I say, why? They say Americans are not going to see this film. It doesn't have Kung Fu and 古装戏. And Chinese Americans are not going to support this film either by seeing it. I say, why is that? They say there has not been successful precedents that once in a very rare while, a Chinese American film was made in the past, Chinese Americans don't support their own films. That's why I'm traveling around the country. That's why I'm talking about to you all today, because this is our time. This is our opportunity to make a difference. This is one of those rare instances, because political representation and education, all that would take a long time, even though we do need to do it to increase the status of Chinese American in America. But this particular situation is what we Chinese Mandarin call 立竿见影. That means do one thing, just do one single thing. We can send a strong message to Hollywood and America that Chinese Americans are important. Chinese Americans do contribute to America. What's that one thing? Is going to see the film, October 27th. Make a success, that against failing expectation of Hollywood, they say this film will fail. Chinese Americans are not going to see Chinese American films. We make it, surprise them, make a successful opening night for site across the country when Universal released it in theaters across the United States, and send them a message. This is a chance to control our own destiny, to stand up, to speak up, to tell our stories. So you may want to take a picture of this screen, and so you remember this day. I encourage all of you to invite your friends to see, because this film was made for you, our next generations, and also taking your non-Chinese friends to see, because this film is also a way to break the ice, 零的突破, trying to tell authentic, real, modern Chinese American stories in American major mainstream silver screen. So bring your non-Chinese friends to see them, telling our stories. I'm going to show you just a few interesting video about the technology. Then I'm come back with the central question, why we're so polarized. And I'm going to talk about with you. First, It's about SMILE, small incision LASIK, which is actually making LASIK surgery obsolete. This is small incision medicine, moving a smaller and smaller incision. It's safer, less painful, faster recovery. So SMILE. At Wang Vision Institute in Nashville, Tennessee, we are leading center in SMILE in the United States and in the world. Let me show you the video. SMILE.
Welcome back, everybody. Imagine that you've needed to wear glasses for 20 years, and then one day you no longer need them. Sounds hard to believe, but it's been an actuality for one local woman. Margaret Coleman has spent the last 20 years wearing glasses, and she's struggled with vision issues.
I look at screens all day, I'm emailing, I'm on my phone, and I'm oftentimes really sensitive to the light, and I get headaches and have a lot of pressure on my temples. I've been getting migraines. I also like to snorkel, been wanting to dive and have never made the plunge because of that. So making it a lot easier to do that for me would be life-changing.
Now, earlier this week, Margaret underwent a breakthrough laser vision correction procedure. It's called SMILE. It was performed by Dr. Ming Wang at the Wang Vision 3D Cataract and LASIK Center. Now, the surgery is minimally invasive. It's the first breakthrough in laser vision correction in the last 25 years.
SMILE has three distinct advantages compared with LASIK. Number one, it's minimally invasive. Number two, it causes less dry eye. And number three, it has less post-op complication, such as those that are related to flaps.
Now, the Wang Vision 3D Cataract and LASIK Center is the first and only center in Tennessee to offer SMILE surgery. We got a chance to see the incredible work of Dr. Ming Wang when he did Margaret's procedure. We even got to be there for the big reveal.
Here's a moment of truth. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, blink, blink, blink. Look around. Look over there. Dr. Jack, can you see?
Clear as bell.
Wow, isn't it amazing? Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow. So that's SMILE, small incision LASIK, which is replacing LASIK surgery, making LASIK obsolete. And at Wang Vision Institute in Nashville, Tennessee, we are a leading center in SMILE in the United States. Second thing I want to show you is implantable contact lens. You may have to remove your contact lens at night, bedtime. You have to put the contact lens in. Incidentally, OK lens, OK gene is not highly recommended in America because you put the contact lens in when you go to sleep and the increasing chance of corneal infection. I'm a cornea specialist. So I always tell all my young friends, teenagers, don't do the OK. Just wear glasses if you don't, and the contact lenses, daytime, but at night you need to remove it. And when you're age 18, remember I said between 18 and 107, we have some procedure for you to improve your eyesight. And when age 18, you can have SMILE. Some of you may be wearing contact lenses right now, not OK, but the regular contact lenses, you're nearsighted, you can't see far without contacts. And at night you have to remove it. And you said, that's what a hassle. We can actually have a technology now called implantable contact lens. We literally put the contact lens inside your eyes, so you never need to remove it. So let me show you a video about that. Implantable contact lens. We're one of the leading centers in the United States for that technology as well. You've been married with your husband for how many years?
Almost 12.
Almost 12 years. So up until this point, without any optical correction, you really cannot see him clearly, right, across the room like this.
No.
So now, after EVO lens, you will be able to see him clearly how he really looks like.
Yeah.
I hope you like what you see.
Yeah, hopefully.
But after 12 years, it may be too late to change it.
Yeah.
The EVO implantable contact lens offers better vision quality, less dry eye, reversibility. If you don't like it, you can take the lens out, and also can correct wider range of vision problems. In addition, it offers UV protection Protect against cataract. 3, 2, 1. Open both eyes. Blink, blink, blink. Blink, blink, blink. Go to 1. You see 3. Yes? Isn't it amazing?
Do I have to cry?
Finally, your parents, maybe they're developing near eye problems near up close. So we have the Forever Young lens to get rid of the aging eyes, the reading glasses.
And now, this Fox 17 Medical Minute.
As we get older, the lens inside our eyeball gets more rigid. We lose the range of vision. That's why as we get older, we have to push things further and further away to read. That's a condition called presbyopia. So presbyopia is an age-dependent loss of reading ability up close. 3D Forever Young lens surgery has enabled our 40 to 65-year-olds reduce their dependence on reading glasses.
Once I found out that I thought Dr. Wang was the best person to go to, I came to the Vision Center and literally went through every machine here. So, I mean, it's just a beautiful experience to come here and be able to see well after it's done.
So 3D Forever Young lens surgery consists of laser lens surgery, laser astigmatism correction, and 3D technology for surgery, and intraoperative wavefront smart eye surgery technology. So now with the 3D Forever Young lens surgery, when light comes to the eye of a patient with presbyopia, they're able to read things up close once again, restoring their accommodative function.
Really wonderful I had the surgery. I can't express enough how happy I am with it. I am working now, and I can read the blueprints, and just it's just better all the way around.
3D Forever Young lens surgery has enabled our 40 to 65-year-olds to reduce their dependence on glasses or bifocals. We are proud to be the first center and only center in Tennessee that offers 3D Forever Young lens surgery.
So finally, for older patients, we have the laser cataract surgery technology.
His signature cowboy hat and dark sunglasses do more than make Charlie Daniels look cool. They protect his eyes. For years now, the Mount Juliet native and country music legend has been losing his eyesight to cataracts. But today, he's among the first group of patients in Tennessee to undergo a revolutionary new procedure called smart eye surgery to have his sight restored.
Well, now the devil went down to Georgia and he's looking for soul to steal.
Country legend Charlie Daniels is used to performing in the glare of bright lights. In recent years, the 75-year-old entertainer has been losing his sight to cataracts. Today, he's one of the first patients in Middle Tennessee to undergo a revolutionary new procedure called smart eye surgery.
I'm going to get straightened out here and be able to see without glasses for the first time in 68 years.
Dr. Ming Wang is the first cataract surgeon in the state to introduce the smart eye surgery technology. Instead of waiting weeks, this new technique allows a surgeon to customize treatment as needed immediately after the cataract has been removed.
That we can actually do the mid-flight adjustment on the operating table before surgery is finished to test drive, to see how well this particular patient's body, in this case Ms. Daniels' eye, is reacting to the lens implanted.
Charlie had surgery on his left eye 2 days ago.
Well, it's still a little fuzzy, and I see some halos, but that's to be expected.
He had surgery on the right eye Thursday morning. Smart eye technology lets Dr. Wang analyze Charlie's vision and make precise adjustments during the procedure, giving Charlie a faster recovery time.
I'm just looking forward to not having to reach over and pat around on the table for glasses when I get up in the morning to see where I'm going.
Now, Dr. Wang.
So finally, I want to remember I told you about the foundation, the charity eyeball. So this is one of our foundation patients whose story is actually featured in the film Sight.
De la 7 ani am ajuns la școală și când am ajuns cu problemele de vedere, îmi părea că o să fie totul închis, nu o să am prieteni, dar totul s-a ales prin puterea lui Dumnezeu.
The summer of 2012, my husband and I were fortunate to be able to take our family, ourselves and our children, to Moldova. And our goal was to work at a summer camp for children that the majority of them are orphans. We walk into camp and all of a sudden there's this beautiful girl sitting there on a bench all by herself. She just looked so sad, so lonely, and her head was down and nobody was around her. And so I went up to her with a translator, and I said, hi, I introduced myself, and she told me that her name was Maria, but that's all, I could pretty much get out of her. She wouldn't look up at me, and I said, Maria, let me see your beautiful face. Let me see you. I want to see you. And she looked up at me. And it was then that I realized that she had something just terribly wrong with her eyesight. I could tell.
A year after IBOR 2012, that when we first heard about Maria came to the United States and walked into our Wang Vision 3D cataract and LASIK center. We sat down and I plotted out the whole sight restoration surgical plan, and involved 10 different steps. Each of the steps can have 2 possible outcomes, success or failure. And we can only get to the next step if the previous step is perfect or is successful. I know that that's a very small possibility for humans, but God is powerful. Got it. We got it. And guess what? It happened. God created a miracle. The surgery went beautifully.
I see Maria. Can you see? Oh, careful. You see Casey? Look at Casey.
Can you see me?
There's Maria. Look at her.
So I actually saw Maria not long ago, and guess what? Maria's going to college. God is good. God is good. So my main topic today is we live in a country, America, that's about freedom, about ability to find common ground, and about faith, and it's about responsibility. But our nation is so polarized. And I've been thinking, how can I find the solution to the polarization? A vision for finding common ground in a polarized world. find a common ground. So I established, with Dr. Rice's books, a Common Ground Network, a nonprofit organization that studies how to find a common ground. Then I'll summarize what we have found in this common ground steps. So first of all, remember I posed the question, why we're so polarized? Why are we so polarized? Let me pause for 15 seconds. Can you answer that question in your own mind without speaking out? Why we're so polarized? I think the world is so polarized. Human beings today are so polarized. Americans are so polarized. It's because we're driven by human nature for power and control. And technology offers unprecedented opportunity to really polarize us. If you type in an opinion in the Facebook, the algorithm is such based on the interest of these companies trying to make you click more so that advertisement revenue is higher. They will send more information exactly what you want. So you guys keep on reinforced until one day you think your view, everybody in the world thinks the same. So the technology is driving us to polarization because these companies, it's all about making money to increase your click rate. And the only way you will increase your click rate is you get feedback, you get news post, news feed of opinions similar to yours. Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, we are manipulated by these big tech companies, by leaders who wants to polarize us because it's called divide and conquer. So we need to recognize the root cause of polarization, human nature for power and control. So I've been studying how to overcome that. So Dr. Rice Brooks and I, we established the foundation. We've been studying this for many years, how to find the common ground. And I summarize our methodology. We actually published 2 books now. For those who are interested, can contact me about common ground seeking steps. STEPS. S. We got to overcome our human nature, got to be able to see that common ground. If you interact with someone who has different political opinions and ethnicities and nationalities, if you don't even want to believe there's a common ground, you will never find it. As human beings, if we really want to do something, we may or may not succeed. But if you really don't want to do something, you will never succeed. 0 chance success. So first, you got to be willing to see. However different someone in front of you is, there could be a common ground. And however small the common ground, it could have big transforming effect in your relationship with that person. T, trade places. As human beings, we tend to speak the language of the speaker. But can we change ourselves? Try to speak the language of the listener. How did I learn that? Long time ago, when I started my eye practice, I want to be an eye doctor. I discovered a simple truth. You know how it is that you go to see a doctor and you wait for a long time and doctor comes in, throw a bunch of medical jargon at you and walked out. You say, Doc, do you care? Did you hear what I said? When I started to learn to be an eye doctor, I realized a simple truth. That is, if I want to fix your eye problem, I've got to listen to you. Why? Because you're the only human being on this planet with 8 billion people who are seeing through that pair of eyes of yours. No one else is seeing that pair of eyes of yours. So if I'm going to try to fix your eye problem, I better listen to you. You're the authority in describing what are you seeing. So I got to trade places. That's the key to be a good doctor. Trade places with my patients. Empathy. You know what we do? Think about the last person you met as different lifestyle, different political opinion, different whatever, race, ethnicity, different viewpoints about life. You know what we tend to do? Human nature. Again, my answer is overcoming human nature is yelling and shouting and just saying, oh, Johnny is screwed up. But instead of that, when we meet someone who has different opinions, can we try the SALT principle, S-A-L-T? S, start a conversation first. A, ask a question. L, listen. And then and only then, talk. When there's a right thing to do, you got to persevere, P. You cannot give up. And finally, C, common ground. You got to actually do it. The film site is about freedom, it's about faith, it's about common ground seeking. Do you know who inspired us to formulate this common ground seeking steps? It's none other than Jesus Christ himself. Because I'm a Christian and we published the common ground seeking Bible study. The point is, if you rely upon human nature, we will never get out of the deadly spiral of polarization. Big company, tech company is going to continue exploitate us, and it's going to take advantage of us. The political leaders will continue polarize us, and we still are at a stalemate in resolving some of the urgent existential issues of our time, which are gun violence, opioid crisis, environmental disasters. So we need to overcome our human nature. So finally, you may say, Dr. Wang, is it possible to apply this methodology to actually find the common ground? I'm going to show you some examples that I've been doing, and this will hopefully inspire your seeking common ground in your own world. My point is that just like fighting racial discrimination, the answer lies within you, no one else. The way to overcome our polarization, the answer lies within each of us. You cannot change anyone else in this world. You can only change you. Let's begin with ourselves. So let me show you some examples of how I've been experimenting this common ground seeking steps as TPS, and did successfully find some common ground. Before that, what's common ground? Common ground is intersection. Doesn't matter which direction coming. When you come to intersection, you better obey the rules or at your own peril. Common ground is a cruise ship. Doesn't matter what country you're from. You get in a ship, you better obey the rules. Common ground is sports game. Doesn't matter you're white or black, or Asian, Latino. When you put on the same sports jersey, you're fighting for the same team. So a few examples. Then we're gonna go into a question and answer, okay? This to show that it is possible to apply this common ground seeking steps to actually find a common ground. A number of years ago, I realized that there's growing number of immigrant and minority business owners, Asians, Latinos, African Americans. You know, Latino Americans represent 20% of the US population. African Americans, 18%. Do you know what percentage Asian American represent in the United States? 6%. We are a pretty sizable population, ladies and gentlemen. We're 1/3 of African Americans. But our political societal influence is far less than 1/3 compared with African Americans, because we need to learn from African Americans in its fighting spirit, in its standing up, in its telling their stories. So I formed an organization called Tennessee Immigrant Minority Business Group, aggregating Blacks, Latinos, Asians, business owners. And guess what's our common ground? Because with different groups, you have different common grounds. In this group, our common ground is help each other. If as minorities, we don't help each other, who will? Take our destiny into our own hands. So that's an example. At the foundation, we help blind orphan children We have patients from over 40 states, America, and 55 countries, with all physicians donate our services. Our common ground is doesn't matter where the doctors come from. Our common ground is to our love for blind orphan children. Here you see a photo of Kajol, a 5.5-year-old Indian child who, when she was 5, was already orphaned in India. Her stepmother poured acid into her eyes when Kajol was sleeping one night in an attempt to make Kajol a blind orphan child who can sing, who therefore will get more money from tourists. Kajol was maliciously blinded in this way, both eyes. Then she was found to have no talent of singing, so that's why she was abandoned in a train station near Calcutta, India, and almost died from starvation. And that's where we found her, brought her, our foundation brought her to America, and Sight, the movie Sight, is about Kajol's remarkable journey from darkness to sight. So at the foundation, our common ground is love for blind orphan children. Science and faith have common ground. Many of you are studying science and technologies. You know, science is bringing new possibilities, stem cell research, ChatGPT, AI, CRISPR, genetic engineering, gene splicing. So we bring an unprecedented array of moral, ethical, faith issues. People believe science and faith have no common ground. Many years ago, I wanted to do research to help blind orphan children to restore their eyesight. Then I realized an unborn child can actually heal without scar. But I did not want to do research on unborn child, fetus, because I don't want to hurt their life. Because I'm a Christian and I believe life is sacred. So I got stuck because people say there's no common ground between science and faith. If up to the scientists, they will do research anyway, but up to the Christians, no research on stem cell fetal tissue. Is that true? No common ground? Fortunately, I did not give up. I persisted. And eventually, I stumbled upon with other scientists the piece of tissue called placenta. So I thought that, well, the baby before birth was surrounded by the amniotic sac. So maybe that sac is what convey the scarless regenerative ability of a fetus, healing without scar. So I started asking mothers in the hospitals after they've given birth to children, donate to, give me the placenta. Just donate that to our laboratory because they don't need it anyway. The placenta is always discarded after children were born. So I brought the placenta to the laboratory. I did research. I invented placenta contact lens. When I put this placenta amniotic contact lens onto older patients' eyes, from patients with trauma injury, and especially for my blind orphan children patients after trauma, they scar, they got blinded, I found indeed these amniotic, youthful healing, regenerative fetal contact lens can actually inhibit scar, restore eyesight in blind orphan children. I got 2 US patents, the world's first 2 patents for amniotic membrane contact lens. Now today, the amniotic membrane contact lens has been used by tens of thousands of eye doctors throughout the world in nearly every nation. Millions of patients have their eyesight restored. So the film Sight is about the story, how the amniotic membrane contact lens was invented. Not only this is a scientific achievement, but more important to me, it shows faith and science have common ground also. Our work with the foundation has been recognized by various different organizations over the years. This is an honor to get the Kiwanis Nash Veiling of the Year. In 150 years of this award being given the southern city of Nashville, all the previous recipients mostly were white, and I was the first Asian American. Only one person a year in the city. 917 Society, our common ground is to put the Constitution, the system of fairness in America, in the hands of every 8th graders. And I'm part of the Bethel Church. We have 70 countries represented. Doesn't matter what country you're from, our common ground is the love for Christ. Living Sand Ministry, applying scripture Monday through Friday, learn how to work with people with different faith and religion. For example, I want to pray with my patient because I'm a Christian. I believe before eye surgery, we need to focus, we need God. But people said Christians and non-Christians have no common ground. If up to me, I want to pray with my patient. If up to my non-Christian patient, they don't want me to pray. Is that true? Christians, non-Christian have no common ground. So I decided to go out the limb. I'm going to pray because I believe I need to do my best for my patients, and praying is important for me. So I did the research. I'm a scientist. I always do research. So I gathered over a period of time in a survey almost 100 non-Christian patients. I asked them the day after surgery, were they offended? So this is what they told me. Almost 100 non-Christian patients the day after that surgery. I said, were you offended yesterday when I prayed for you before your eye surgery? This is what they told me. They say, Dr. Wang, yesterday I was so nervous under your surgical laser. And you came to me, yeah, you did technically ask me for my permission. I didn't dare to say no. I said, well, no, you're under my laser. But I kind of took advantage of the situation, but I took advantage for God. So I felt okay. But my main question is, were you offended? Because you don't believe in Christ. What they told me stay in my mind to this day. They say, Dr. Wang, not only I was not offended, I was moved. I said, how could you be moved when you don't believe what I believe? They say, the reason, Dr. Wang, I was moved yesterday before my eye surgery, I was so nervous, is because in one of my most important moments in my life, which is my eye surgery, I don't want anything to go wrong because it's affected my vision for the rest of my life. You brought something that is most important to you, your Christ. And I appreciate that. So at that moment, I realized it's the love for fellow human being that transcends the boundary between faith and religion. It's the love for fellow human being that is our common ground. I'm a Christian. We have project putting Bible back to school in the context teaching American Revolution. And with Ladies America, I'm working with Diane trying to encourage ladies in America to stand up and to protect the freedom we have to search common ground. We involve with musicians and artists to talk about common ground. So in summary, I'm delighted, honored to speak with you all today because the future of our world is in your hand. You are facing a challenge which is unprecedented challenging in human history. A challenge that if it's not overcome, it will literally make human race extinct. It's an existential crisis. Because the deadly spiral of polarization, the increased fixation on differences, rather than appreciating what we all have in common, either between Republican Democrats, between Black and white, Asian, Latinos, between China, United States, between East and West, we're increasingly fixated on difference rather than appreciating what we have in common as fellow human beings. We're increasingly unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions. We're increasingly unable to rebuild relationships between nations, such as the United States and China. Even though politically we are as far as apart as you can be, but people, economy, these are our common ground. In Adam Smith's classical economics book called The Wealth of Nations, as many of you have read probably, that it says trade increase the net value of human society. If I make tennis shoes, you make tennis racket, guess what? It's best for me not to learn how to make tennis racket. That's your expertise. It's much better for me to buy a tennis racket from you. Conversely, it's better for you to learn my trade, but just buy it from me. Trade increase net value of human society. The current policy of disengagement of United States with China and also Eastern Asian countries is absolutely stupid. Disengagement will only hurt everybody, including ourselves. So why this political leader wants to disengage? Why does the political leader want to polarize? It's for their power and control. Why Facebook wants to polarize us? For their money. So ladies and gentlemen, the future is in your hand. Can you stand up as the next generation citizen of the world? Recognize this is an existential crisis for human race. To be the unifier, to be the peacemaker. While the world is going to one side, that is spiral polarization. You travel the road less traveled. You change yourself. Overcome. Recognize the human nature for power and control and money is what driving us to polarize. Change ourselves. Follow the common ground seeking steps, STPS. See the common ground, got to see it. Trade places. Speak the language of listener rather than language of speaker. Demonstrate empathy towards people who have different opinions. Love another person despite our differences. Persevere, P. And finally, S, seek and common ground. Put into action. You have the chance to make history. As Asian Americans, as Chinese Americans in particular, we recognize there's a big gap between the contribution made by Chinese Americans to this country and the recognition we receive for it. The key reason is because Chinese Americans need to step out of ourselves, entering the American mainstream society, make contribution to America. Then you say, what example? That one, give an example, Asian American can to really make a great contribution to America. I'll give an example. Asian American may not be as good as African Americans in playing basketball, or in some other aspect as good as Latin Americans, but Asian Americans are great in education. I mean, you know, the Supreme Court decision yesterday. I mean, MIT, when I was there, they said there's another name for MIT. I said, what's that? It's not Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it's called Made in Taiwan. At Berkeley, you see Berkeley with this Supreme Court policy, Asian American, Chinese Americans gonna way outnumber any other race. The point is that we know about education. We know how to do well in school. But my fellow Chinese Americans, just do well ourselves is not enough. To truly improve our social status, respect for us. To truly allow us to realize not just Chinese American dreams. To truly change the situation that your parents, your grandparents have suffered the discrimination. We have to stand up. You have to stand up. To contribute to America, especially in an area like education that we know how to do. We excel in schools, but don't just be satisfied with our own excelling in schools, but help America education. That's an area we have authority as Asian Americans and Chinese Americans. Just African Americans have authority in basketball because they're talented. We are talented in different ways. Not good or bad, or one is more important than the other. No, it's just different human capability and endeavors. We're good in school. Don't be satisfied just doing well yourself. If you desire to change our fate, if you desire to live in a nation that's different from your parents and grandparents, do more things to contribute to America. Go out of our Chinese circles and tell your stories. So I'm very honored to be speaking to the future of our country, America. I think you have a chance to start anew, that make history and change the history and truly be a great citizen of America in every sense of the word. It's not just Chinese American dream, it's the American dream. Thank you very much, Yang Wen, and thank you very much, everyone. Any question in the chat room, I have put my information there. In particular, July, I know most of you are in Bay Area, July 7th to July 11th, I'll be showing the film Sight, which will be released by Universal Studios October 27th, Friday in theaters across the United States in Northern California. So in Dr. Chen Shen Huang, who is the coordinator for Northern California Sight Tour, contact him. I put his information in chat room. And also, let's do something. Let's go to theater on October 27th. Let's make it against Hollywood. Hollywood ignored us, discriminated us and ignored us. What's the evidence of ignoring? I literally have not seen very many films in 41 years in America that in mainstream silver screen, the heroes are Chinese Americans, other than Kung Fu and Wu Zhuang Xi. We are ignored. It's even worse than being discriminated against. Discriminated against as you recognize that you exist. So this is a chance for us to change that. Take our fate in our own hands, stand up. Sight is going to lead the way, because if Sight is successful, we're making a successful opening night. It will open the door for future Chinese Americans, for all of you to tell our stories, because Hollywood is about box office success. It's about money. It's about commercial success. So we need to pave the way. So more of you can tell your stories. So support Sight, support this dream of telling our stories. Any questions?
I have a question. So,
yes.
What are the things that other youth should avoid doing to make them more successful? Like the thing that we shouldn't do when we're young like this.
I think when you are young, the one thing one should not do is something that I did a lot, so I hope you will not do, is shortchange yourself. Don't quite believe in your own capability. It's challenging in a nation where, as a minority, Chinese Americans, you see on the silver screen, the media representation, political representation, heroes, all don't look like me. I've got an Asian face, I cannot change that. They don't like my parents either. So it's very easy to lose confidence. We're very easy to not regarding this country is my own. So my suggestion is you're our future of Chinese Americans and Americans in general. Don't believe that. Break through that. Be more confident than your parents, than your grandparents. This is your country. America is your country, just as anybody else's. Such as, be more confident in stepping out of Chinese American circle and do things to contribute to America, and be more willing and confident and bold in telling our stories. So don't shortchange yourself, believe in yourself.
Right. Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. Hi, my name is Emma. I'm from Able to Shine. My question is,
Yes.
do you think eye surgeons can be replaced by AI? And I read that you were called the doctor's doctor, having operated on 4,000 physicians. As someone who knows like nothing about the medical field, I'm wondering why all those doctors came to you, and with the advancements of technology, which parts of the operations can be automated and which can't so far or ever?
Yeah, great question, Emma. I love the way you think. The question is, would it ever? Here I want to tell you a book I recommend you read by Roger Penrose, Alfred Newton, Chair of Physics, Oxford University. The book is called Emperor's New Clothes. Emperor's New Clothes. The book began by describing an American university year 2365 in the commencement, college commencement. Everybody went to the auditorium commencement, everybody's in graduation gowns, and they saw a big thing on the stage. And it's draped with a big cloth. And on the top, there's a little screen. So the president of the university said, ask it any question. So audience start raising hand, ask question, and the answer is typed up on the top of the screen. And it's amazing. It's amazing. You could ask question is like, hey, what you feel like doing? And there's a little machine behind the drape and say, it's a lousy day, kind of cloudy. I feel like I need a cup of coffee. It's amazing. Like it's like a human being behind it. So all the question will answer, you really feel like a human being behind that until one student stood up, asked one question. And that's Roger Penrose, Professor Roger Penrose, Alfred Newton Chair of Physics, Oxford University, began his book. He basically trying to answer your question, Emma, that is it theoretically even possible to replace human being with machine? Is it, and the computer is fast enough, and the chemistry equation is detailed enough, human being can be replaced? And they analyzed many, many different experiments in human history. And the book concludes by saying that human beings unique in certain attributes that perhaps may never be replaced. You know, for example, if you have one tree, it's one tree. If you have two trees, it's two trees. If you have three trees, it's three trees. So where 101st trees become a forest. So the quantitative change somewhere into a transforming qualitative change. So perhaps there's a incrossable gap between technology, computing, and human conscience. So the book ended up telling you what that student question was at the end of the book. That after all these other people asked the question, and it's like they feel like there's a human being behind the drape, the object. Then the student asked the question, and that's where the book ends. The student question is, can it feel? I think there's a domain of human existence, the feeling, the conscience, that is fundamentally not replaceable by technology. However, that could only be 5%. So ladies and gentlemen, I've got a very challenging situation coming up. If we say today AI has replaced, shall we say 5% of our jobs, it's going to get worse. Next year will be 10%, next year will be 15%, next year will be 20%. Eventually, we'll replace 95%. So then you say, Dr. Wang, what is my survival here? I don't want to be replaced. Here, I want to tell you another book called Deep Work. Deep Work. The author basically answered this question. In the increasingly mechanized AI world, the way to survive is be the best in your field. The top 20% not enough, top 10% is not enough, top 5% not enough, top 1%. Do the deep work. Because if you're within that 5%, within 1%, your intuition, your emotion, your insight, your conscience will never be replaced by machine. But on the other hand, if you are, oh, there's something here. Somebody's putting a share screen. Maybe, did I put it there? Okay. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, on the other hand, if you're lazy with your study, you just be satisfied with being the top 50%. You will be replaced. If you're satisfied by being the top 20%, you will be replaced. If you're satisfied top in 10%, you will be replaced. So be the best, the top 1%. you would never be replaced. All the lower level laborers will all be replaced. Next question. Again, in the chat room, I talk about the, my information, email, and WeChat. I welcome everybody to come to see the film site, July 7th to 11th in Northern California. And before that, July 3rd and 6th in Southern California. And if you have other parts of the United States, email me. I will give you the calendar of my national site tour. Next question. Excellent 2 questions so far.
I'm Allison. I'm with Silicon Valley Youth. And one line that struck me in your trailer was the line about the present cannot be without the past. So I wanted to ask you, do you think you would be where you are now without the hardships of your childhood? And if given the chance, would you do it all over again to achieve the level of success that you have?
Allison, amazing question. I will tell you, your ladies and gentlemen, you already surpassed me in your intellectual ability and logical ability when I was at your age, way past. You're a lot smarter than me, and you're a lot more critical in your critical thinking, and just based on these questions. So you're going to go a lot further than I have in your life. This is an excellent question. Excellent question. I'm a first-generation immigrant. Every immigrant is fighting with this question. Where should I strike between past and the present? If I'm stuck in the past, I live within Chinatown. I don't even learn to speak English. I celebrate only Chinese New Year. So I lose touch with American society, and I have zero chance to contribute to America, and I'll be discriminated or even ignored. So that's one extreme. On the other extreme is I became a total American. I don't want to learn about Chinese culture and all the language. I just want to forget what my genetic background. I think both extreme is wrong. Every one of us needs to find the optimal point in that spectrum, somewhere in the middle, where this film site is about recognizing our present is made possible by the past. Without past, we will not have today. But at the same time, we have to be at the peace with our past, embrace the present and the future. So our present is made possible by the past, and our present will create our future. So I have gone through significant amount of suffering in the past. I used to think, suffering is something I wish I never had. As human beings, we tend to think, suffering, setbacks is something we really like to avoid. No, what I've learned, suffering and setbacks in the past is not in the way that you have to go around. It is actually the way. As human beings, we have to go through this suffering and setbacks to learn anything. We succeed as human beings, not despite of our failures and setbacks, but because our failure and setbacks. It's necessary to succeed, the failures in the past. Next question.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Amy from BRI, and I had a question. So, as you studied the arduous courses at Harvard and MIT, did you face any challenges that made you want to give up, and how do you overcome them? What was your inspiration?
Yeah. I did encounter lots of challenges. I was, and I'm still not super smart. I'm not stupid, but I'm probably average, a little bit above average. So I overcome the challenges, these difficult courses, because all these other kids are brilliant, right? So I have 2 tricks, and I will share with you. Number 1, I cannot choose my genetic IQ. I'm probably okay, above average a little bit, but I'm certainly not in the top or anything like that. But I can choose one thing. That is, I'm going to outwork anybody. So even though all the schools, Harvard, MIT stuff, I always see more students, plenty of students who are smarter than me. No question. I'm not trying to be humble or anything. It's true. I wish I could say I'm smarter. I wish, but it's not true. I have been outsmarted by tons of students in these great schools. But I resolved very early on, I will not allow anyone to outwork me. Today, I will tell you, after all these years, I work with, students at Harvard, MIT, residency, everything. Even with the people that I'm working with today, the doctors. And even the side tool, I work with a bunch of volunteers from around the country. I outwork every one of them. I resolved a long time ago, I'm not going to allow a human being that I work closely outwork me. So that's a trick number one. Trick number two is sometimes, in life, when you work very hard, you couldn't get into a particular school, and you work very hard, you couldn't get the A, you got the B or whatever, right? We got disillusioned, we got sad, disappointed. It's interesting. I do many different things, right? I'm always up and go, always happy. As people always ask, they always ask me two questions in my life. One is, how'd you do so many things? And I said, that's my determination. I want to. Because if you want to do something, you might be able to, may not, but if you don't want something, you have zero chance. I want to do more things because I love life. And second, they say, Ming, how come you're always so positive, always smiling, happy, and I want to tell you, I've been working in this presentation I told you about, several hundred Americans in the remote area, for like 14 hours before I got on this Zoom. I barely made it. Young one texted me and said, hey, are you coming? I was in the car, in a big thunderstorm in the car, driving home. I have not had dinner yet. So let me show you. This is my dinner. Still untouched because I want to do a good job for you all. So I'm going to eat my dinner after the presentation. But my point is this. I have my share of failures, just like all of you. Shall we say 50% of things we do as human beings fail? Yeah, that's about right. 50% succeed, but I'm 100% happy. She said, what? Because I do not define my happiness based on the outcome. Because human nature is we define our happiness based on outcome. I'm trying to get an A, I didn't get an A, I'm sad. Because you cannot define your happiness based on outcome because you don't have control. How can you define your happiness based on something you don't have complete control? Because you can do very good in the test, but somebody else could do better. So you're not going to get an A minus. Not because you did bad, because somebody else did better. That's human nature. We depend our happiness on objective outcome, on things that we don't have complete control. That's why sometimes we're sad and disappointed, stressed out, especially in school competing, tough competitions. I intentionally try to change myself, just like polarization. I intentionally try to apply the common ground seeking steps. I intentionally change. I found I cannot change anybody else except myself on this planet. So the way I change is I intentionally redefine my happiness, not by objective outcome, but my subjective effort. I may do something, I do my ultimate best. Now, when something may or may not happen, I studied hardest, I still didn't get an A, I got a B or A minus, whatever. Guess what? I'm happy. As long as I look back, I did my best. So to answer your question, in those tough environment, Harvard, MIT, whatever, you're going to go through lots of challenges competing in school and job places. If you could do two things, this is what I've learned, you could do better than me, of course. One, you cannot change your genetics, your natural IQ, but you have something you can change. And it's 100% under your control. That is how hard you work. Can you resolve? Like what I did. Don't let anybody you ever work with outwork you. Second trick is, can you redefine your happiness? Not by the outcome, because you don't have complete control, but by, have you done your best? If as long as you've done your best, even if it didn't happen, you got to be, but you've done your best, be happy. These two things are not human nature, but you can intentionally change your human nature in these two aspects, and you will succeed in those tough schools or tough jobs and tough competitions.
Thank you so much for the advice.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Wang. I think that's all the time we get today. So before we end, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to anybody who joined today, and a special thanks to Dr. Wang with this beautiful speech. And I think it's definitely incredible. I would also like to thank all our co-hosts, which is Alison, Sophia, Angelina, Amy, Ashley, and Emma, and Mr. Yuan Wen, and then NCCCAF, and all the other organizations for having me and other co-hosts here today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I saw Jason raise hand. Should we answer his question? Jason Huang, who is the coordinator of Northern California site tour, July 7th to July 19th. Again, this is the film cards. Jason, you have a question? Maybe the last question.
刚才王师兄有个人问到你第一本书名叫什么？我们可能都没听清。你第二本是 Deep Work， 第一本是什么？你可能 type 一下，要不？
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me. The second book is called Deep Work. Deep Work by Cal Newport. Deep Work, this is the 1% thing. This is super important for all of you. To survive the AI onslaught that will replace 99% of jobs in upcoming few years, just few years, ladies and gentlemen, take advantage the incrossable gap between human and machine by being on the top 1% of your field. Deep work. Don't be lazy. 99% of your friends will be lazy. Be happy just being the top 50%, 20%, 10%, or 5%. Be the top 1%. You will still control your destiny and irreplaceable. Second book is by Roger Penrose, Penrose, book called Emperor's New Growth. Roger Penrose is professor of physics, Alfred Newton Chair in Physics, Oxford University. It basically answers Amy's, I believe, Amanda, question that there's a fundamental gap between conscience, emotion, and machine. But you have to be in the top 1%. Otherwise, you will be replaced as short as the next few years. So welcome everybody to the film site. And Zhenshen, can you put your information in the chat room? Really appreciate your putting all the shows together in Northern California, July 7th, July 11th. And so I would love to see all of those young students today because they are our future and I want to talk to them, shake their hands, give them a hug, encourage them because this site film tour is telling our stories and there's no better people, better group of people that can do that more effectively. A great start than all of the students today. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Chen.
Thank you.
I think that's the end of this forum. Thank you very much, Dr. Wang. Dr. Ming. This is really helpful to all of us, and I really learned a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, one more, Lucy. Say 50 years old, you need to, whether you can do laser surgery. Yes, we can still do it. Lucy, can you send me email, please? Can you keep a screen on, Chen Yi, just a few more seconds? Lucy, can you email me in my email address? Lucy, about 50-year-old can still do laser eye surgery, get rid of glasses? Yes, the answer is yes. And Lucy, if you email me, my website is drmingwang.com, drmingwang.com, and I will send you information about answer your question in more detail. In fact, what I would do is I would just type this in for Lucy. Lucy, July 11th, Tuesday, Lucy, at 6:45 p.m. CT, which is 4:45 p.m. PT. I have a vision Zoom that talk about all the latest technology, including for over 50-year-old to get rid of reading glasses, vision Zoom, and RSVP at www.drmingwang.com. So we'll talk about how to protect and improve your eyesight, and how to get rid of glasses for 50-year-old. Basically, anyone between 18 and 107, there we may have a technology. We may have a technology to help you. So Lucy, take a look at my email right now, and July 11th, Tuesday, 6:45 p.m. If any of you students are interested in this vision Zoom, you are most welcome. It's a very technical medical Zoom. It's all the details. And by the way, if any of you are interested in medicine, I'll give you unbiased, very fair recommendation, what kind of doctor you can consider to be. This is very fair, unbiased. Be an ophthalmologist. I are certainly biased, but it's a great profession because you can change someone's life instantaneous, make a blind see in a matter of 5 minutes. So it's wonderful technology. If any of you are interested in studying for MCAT, which is a test that I studied, you saw in the film, film talk about how to study MCAT, and the stuff or pre-med, anything, I'll be delighted to advise you anything. My email is in the chat room. Thank you, Chen. Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Ming.
Thank you. Bye bye.
好的，谢谢
Bye.
王医生，
谢谢
Thank you.
袁文，谢谢。
今天我们的主持人非常棒。Thank you
Yes.
so much. Yeah.
Yes, 谢谢。Best wishes. Go get it. Telling our stories. Thank you.
Yeah.
谢谢。
Thank you. Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
谢谢 Betty。谢谢
Good night. See you in the San Francisco.
好，对，谢谢
Bye.
好，拜拜。
See all the students in the theater. Okay. All right.
Yes,
Bye.
yes, see all of you in the theater. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.